Hello everyone, this is Amy, Mystic Rose Tarot. How are we today? This is June 15th, Monday, about 5 minutes after 7, and I am bringing back the Mystic Moon Monday readings, and I also will do some tarot readings, time permitting. But on Mondays, Monday is ruled by the moon. I do discussions about moon energy and basically how different phases of the moon, the sign that the moon's in, how they affect us. And that's also based on the day that the moon's in as well. There's so many different factors that plays a role with the moon energy. So I took some time away from it because with everything that's been going on globally, I found that I had to focus on other things. And one of them being taking care of myself spiritually. And I want to take a break away because I have been doing the moon readings for a few months. And I just decided to just stop. And I received a few other decks. There's one deck that I'm working with right now. It's the Dreams of Gaia, which is my go-to deck right now. I love it. So today what I want to discuss is the moon is waning. We're in the balsamic phase. The balsamic phase, I will show you the card that I'm talking about. Okay. It's in the sign of Aries. It's actually getting ready to move into Taurus, which will take place this morning at 2:35 Pacific Daylight Time. And right now, as we're in the last stages of the balsamic moon, so basically we're getting very minimal light. Aries is ruled by activity and energy. So when the moon falls in the sign of Aries, it's kind of hard because Aries has that energy and there's something with the moon that's just telling them, just going to hold back a little bit, you know? And this card is the sign of compromise, and especially as it's waning. Now, if we get the sign Aries in the waxing phase, then that actually benefits it because it's increasing energy. It's increasing more direction towards goals that you want to work with or work towards, projects to kind of delve into it more. But now as things are waning, moon energy-wise, it's just time to slow down. And so this is a challenge, as I mentioned, with Aries because it is compromising. It is compromising and kind of like taking a step back on things and just slowing things down. This card that I'm holding up is from the Moon Oracle deck created by Carolyn Smith and John Astrop. This is, I believe, the 4th edition. That's the 4th edition being the latest, most recent edition. I think the previous edition and the one before it, I think there are slight variations in the packaging. Other than that, the cards were the same. So just to kind of give a breakdown, this is, as things are waning energy-wise, it's a time to just like really contemplate and start planting the seeds. We're going to start heading into the new moon fairly soon, this weekend. So this is a time when you can really start thinking about when we get to the new moon. The new moon's the darkest phase of the 8 phases that the moon goes through. There's no light. That's a time, it's quite opposite in thinking. That's a time that you would actually start manifesting and start putting directions towards what you want to do. So it's a time of actually putting your intentions So, but right now, between now and the new moon, you just slow down, time to reflect, think about certain aspects that have been a bit of an issue, and you start planting the seeds. You know, once you start getting a sense as to how things should move. There's also, I'm looking down at the Moon Oracle book, guidebook. There's something interesting here. The seeds that you're planting, the seeds will obviously go through stages. They'll start sprouting, they'll start flowering, be creating fruit, and then it goes through its phase of when it withers and it dies, and it goes through the whole cycle again. But here you're planning for the future. You are planting these seeds with the intention of what you want to do down the long road. So you have to be very careful what you put moon energy wise, what your intent is, and you have to be committed to it. That's the hard thing when it comes to maintaining a committed spiritual practice, is that commitment, and that's so important. So again, with this, hi Tabitha. Tonight on Mondays, I just do free readings. Outside of that, if you want to set up something with me to do a personal reading, you can go to my website. But what I'm going to do is, for the first half hour, so I'm just going to talk about the moon energy. We're going into Mercury Retrograde, but I will do readings after the first half hour of this. Of course, you can ask a question. But Tabitha, I want to ask, could you hold the question for about another 20 minutes? Because I want to dedicate this time to discuss about moon energy. And I want people to get familiar how important working with the moon is, and our emotions and whatnot. So I appreciate that, but feel free to listen, chime in with any questions. I will answer questions after I'm done speaking. So yes, again, this deals with Aries. We are going into Taurus come tomorrow. And as the moon wanes, again, energy is slowing down. And for a fire sign like Aries, it's kind of hard, but you get that energy of the moon, and it's conflicting with the fiery aspect of Aries. But if you can balance that, if you can make amends and just compromise your energy and just slow it down and be a little bit more reflective, this would be really beneficial. You don't really want to jump the gun with the moon energy and do the opposite. You know, compromise is just that. You're going to have to take some sacrifices along the way. And that's hard for a lot of fire signs. But it can be frustrating, but just take that frustration, harness it to something that's beneficial to you and something that will allow you to focus on your intent. So put that fiery energy, slow it down, and put it into your intentions as we get towards the new moon on Saturday. Saturday's going to be a busy day astrologically. I'm going to put this card down. We're going to have Litha, summer solstice, this Saturday. Mark your calendar. And there's going to be a solar eclipse. It's not something that everyone's going to be able to see, depending on where you are. And then the new moon comes in. So there's going to be a lot of energy. When you have energy like that, eclipses, whether it's lunar or solar, and we have the changing of the seasons that are going on, it can be a bit overwhelming. Hi, Brianna. As I was saying to Tabitha, I'm going to be talking for the next 15 minutes. Thank you, Tabitha. So I'm going to continue talking about moon energy. So when we start having all this energy, solar eclipse, new moon, summer solstice. Summer solstice is the last day of the year where we get the longest day. We're going to have the longest day of light, go out, celebrate it, enjoy the sunlight while we have it. Because as time goes on, the light's going to start decreasing. So that's it. These last few days is when it's time to go out, enjoy the sunlight, enjoy the energy of the sun. And then over probably the next month, and by August, you'll start seeing our days getting shorter and our nights are going to start growing longer until we get to Mabon, which is the autumnal equinox, September 20th. So it's every 4 months, or every 3 months, I'm sorry, that we go through these changes, equinox and solstices. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be having Mercury retrograde. I don't get scared with any of these retrogrades. I just bring awareness as to we're going to have possible some shifts. And considering everything that's been going on the last few months, for anyone who does view this video, and if they could get into the next 11 minutes, 40 seconds of me speaking, just take things slow. Planet alignments, planet changes, and whatnot can be very vital to individuals. They're very sensitive to it, and also globally, it can affect things. So just take it easy. Mercury retrograde is going to be in the sign of Taurus. It's not going to stay in the sign of Taurus throughout the time. The Mercury retrograde, I believe, goes until, I think it's July 10th. It's for 3 weeks. So it's not going to be too long. But during that time, if anyone knows about Mercury retrogrades, we hear so much about it. There could be issues with communication, technical things could happen. Communicating with someone, signals getting crossed. Just be careful. Don't wrap yourself with so much protection that you don't really you're not really being yourself. Just be mindful of what's happening, and that should work fine. Now, the one thing I want to point out is I haven't talked about this, and this is something that I'm curious about, is Mercury retrograde is an air sign. Again, deals with communication. The day that it goes into retrograde, which is going to be at 9:59, if you want to mark your calendars, June 17th, Wednesday, at 9:59 Pacific Daylight Time, is when Mercury goes retrograde. It'll be in the sign of Taurus. The moon will also be in Taurus as well. So it's going to be interesting. Taurus deals with stability, grounding, and just setting a foundation for things. So this Mercury in retrograde in Taurus, it could affect our thinking. It could affect our focus, especially I'm a Taurus sun sign. So you may feel a shift, and especially with the moon being in Taurus. Just be extra careful, the retrograde starts, Tabitha, 9:59 Pacific Daylight Time. So if you're on the East Coast, about 1 a.m. your time, this Wednesday, June 17th. But when Mercury falls in an astrological sign that you have, so like for me, I'll use myself as an example. My sun's in Taurus. Mercury is going to be in Taurus. it may affect me, but not as much as someone who is born with Mercury in Taurus. They will probably feel it a little bit more. And the same with the moon energies. If you have, and we could talk about this. This is questions that we can also answer if you have any. If your sun's in Taurus, your moon's in Gemini, and let's say Mercury is in Gemini, and when you were born, your Mercury is in Gemini, you will probably feel that. Gemini also is ruled through Mercury. Those are both air ruling elements. So it may be difficult to make decisions, but if you're noticing, this is the thing that's really important. If you're noticing that you're struggling during a retrograde, again, the thing is just to slow down, take a time out. If you're having a hard time making decisions, just take a moment and just be aware. And I'm a big advocate of writing. If you're in a situation where you have to make a decision quick, obviously you can't tell a person, give me a second, I got to write something down. You need to start spiritually and mentally and emotionally conditioning yourself how to handle those situations. So like your moon's in Gemini, Mercury's in Gemini, and Mercury's retrograde in Gemini, for example, you're going to feel it a little bit more. And the same with the moon energies. Today's moon in Aries, that a person who's born with moon in Aries will be more affected as a person who may have the sun sign in Aries. It's not going to directly affect them as much, but they may feel some shifts, and that's something that they need to modify with. So again, it's all these things. It's building up intuitiveness. It's reading. I decided to start doing moon oracle discussions, or I just had a blank. Do my mystic moon readings, because I started over the winter months developing an interest in moon energy. And I thought it was very fascinating that not a lot of people actually have, sorry, I hope I didn't go off screen here. A lot of people don't really discuss moon energy work. Everything's solar astrology. There is some lunar astrology, but there's not really that much emphasis on it. Astrology is its own science, and it's very complicated. So when I do my tarot practice, I do incorporate elements of astrology, and I do have an astrology layout that I could do for someone who wants to do an astrology reading. But for the most part, I don't do charts. It's a science. You have to have that mind to really understand the positions and the changes of the moon phases when the signs come in. If it's exalted or if it's detriment in one sign versus the other, the timing, it's a science. And I'm more on the creative side of things. I'm an artist. So that's astrology fascinates me, but at the same point, once something gets too scientific and it involves me getting in depth with thinking, not that I don't enjoy in-depth thinking, but when it gets me thinking like that, I start tuning out. I'll take in whatever information I want and that I can utilize from it, apply it to my needs, and then that's it. I'm going to run with that. So the moonology is what I call it, moon astrology. I like it because it's a little bit softer. It deals specifically with the emotions, and it has 8 phases. The phases of the moon and the signs that the moons are in are very helpful. And the moon deals specifically with emotions, intuitive energy. Excuse me while I drink some water. While solar astrology, sun astrology, I'll break it down like that, deals more with our outside. I see that we have Cancers here, Leo, Taurus. This is, the time that we were born at that moment, the position that the sun is. That makes up our personality. Our rising sign is how people see us from the outside. All this information, I have it on my website, and you can look online. There's tons of information about this. Astrology, your ascending, your rising sign is how people perceive you. So as I'm talking to you, I haven't said what my rising sign is, but as I'm talking to you, and if you're familiar with astrology, you would go, okay, yeah, I don't know what she is. She could be a Libra. She could be a Scorpio. It's how I'm perceived by other people. That's your rising sign. And our moon sign is emotionally how we connect with things, how we react to things, how we feel towards things intuitively. And that's the part that I'm focusing on with moonology, because it deals with the emotions, and it's a form of healing. Moon work is energy healing work. The sun signs, the rising signs, those are more external aspects of who you are. And when it comes to a spiritual practice, it's very important that we connect to our emotional side. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't know how to handle their emotions, or how to handle situations, because emotionally they're too scared. They have this fear, or they're too volatile, and the only way they react is just right there. They just get right out in front of you. You have to have that balance. So take a look at the moon signs. I can pull some cards. I have my Moon Oracle deck here with me that I can pull if you have questions about your moon sign. And I can look up and interpret the meaning for you. Not look up and interpret the meaning for you. So if anyone has any other questions relating to moon energy, Mercury retrograde, say now, because I want to spend this time to focus on that. And then for the next 20 minutes or so after the questions, I'll go ahead and do readings. Now, just FYI, when I do the readings, it's going to be no more than 3 cards, because I want to be fair to anyone else who wants to have a reading. And the interpretation is going to be very quick. And it's going to be more than likely very general, unless something just stands out and the card's very strong for me, then I will focus on that specifically. So no more than 3 cards. I will do 1 question. Questions that people ask when it comes to the tarot, I need to always explain to people that when you phrase a question, you can't make it general. And if you're gonna do a general vague type question, you're gonna get a general vague answer. You have to be very clear and understanding of your inquiry, your question. You have to really know what's the nooks and crannies of the situation that you're in. Another thing that I will not do readings for, so please keep this in mind when you're thinking about your question. I don't do anything predictive, like when I'm going to get married. I don't do anything related to health. Those are questions that are going over the boundaries when it comes to answering, because there is a liability involved in something like that. And if you do a reading for someone who wants to know, do I have cancer or anything like that, that's something you talk to your doctor about, how long I'm going to live or whatnot. When we do readings, And when someone asks a question, the way I interpret my readings is basically their guides. Take the tarot, and put this in quotations, take the tarot with a grain of salt. They are guides. You take what you want from that reading and you go with it and you determine your outcome. The cards are guides, but it's up to you to take the direction that you want based on the cards. And that's basically up to the will of that individual. So I'll probably explain this when I start doing readings a bit, to explain if it gets a little bit convoluted. But for the most part, really think your question out thoroughly, okay? Because then the more, I don't want a lot of details. That's the other thing. Some people want meaty information. They want to know more. I just want to know basics. And this reading is intuitive. I'm just going to go by how I feel based on the question and put that energy into the cards and let the cards guide me. So I'm going to pull out my deck here because I think I have all my decks in order. Let's see if I do. I do. Okay, let me see if I have a deck that is not in order. And what I mean by not in order is I've recently started, oh, this is a long stretch to get to this deck. I recently started changing how I connect with my decks and the order that I put them in. And good, this deck is not in order. Perfect. So it's a practice that I'm doing. It's an exercise that I'm doing. And my working decks, the decks that I interact with the most, I've put them all in order with the exception of this one deck. So it's good. Because if I have to reorder the decks I want to, that I'm working with, it's going to take some time. It's going to probably take about 15 minutes for me to reshuffle, and it's going to take some time. So I have one deck here available to do readings with. And okay, we're at 7:30. Does anyone else have any questions regarding moon energy work? I'll give a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Everyone's like, I just want to do a reading. I just want a reading. I just want a reading. Moon energy is important. So we can always go back to that later on. Alrighty. Okay, so I see I just have 3 people here. Okay, Tabitha, you were the first to ask about question. So I'm shuffling my deck right now. So if you caught anything that I said about how to phrase your question, think about it. So you just put in a question here. What? Fire and water, Sag and Cancer. Tabitha, are you asking? And also I want to explain to people too, when I do my readings, I can sometimes have an intense look on my face. Don't think I'm like in a different mode of thinking. I just get really into my readings and stuff. So if you see me kind of looking, it's not directed at the person that's answering the question or asking the question. It's just how I get sometimes. So Tabitha, okay, his intentions towards you. Okay, this is where I have to ask questions before I actually do a reading because I need to make sure I understand. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, you want to know if he will contact you. Okay, okay. So give me a few minutes to shuffle. So I obviously don't have another camera where I could do a down shot, so I'm going to have to just show you the cards face up, which ones I pull. You're welcome, Tabitha. I'm going to move my computer back. I'm going to do 3 cards, Tabitha. Okay. I feel he's going to be, you guys will still be in touch. You need to work things out, though. First card that I pulled, this is from a deck called the Lumina deck. And I hope that you'll be able to see this. First card I pulled is the Maiden of Wands. So the Maiden of Wands represents someone who's ready to move forward creatively in relationships and work. You really want to know what's going on with this relationship and you're ready for it, but there's also going to be a learning curve from this. You have to be prepared. Okay? And when you get a card that's either in a maiden or page, this is lessons to be learned, whether it's going to be good or bad. So I want you to look at the card here. We have the wand that's floating above her. The wand, as I mentioned, is a tool that's used to incite energy, movement. Then we have the little fox there. Fox there is more of loyalty and commitment. That's where you're coming from. This is where I'm feeling with the card. You're ready to make a commitment. but there will be lessons to be learned. Okay, so this is the Maiden of Wands. It's the first card I pulled. Second card, I'm going to cover my face here, is Six of Wands. And here we see a balance. I'm going to explain these symbols here. We have here the elements of earth, air, water, and fire. And the Six of Wands, again, Wands is movement. Six, the number 6 represents harmony, cooperation. But it is also a card that can represent a time of, I'm trying to think of the word right now, a time where things may have to be renegotiated. There's something going on in the relationship that's becoming more one-sided, and only one person is feeling it, and the other person isn't. You need to voice yourself and say, you know, I really want to make this work. How can I make this work? There'll be sacrifices that you'll have to take. There'll be compromises, but this is negotiation time to get a balance of all these elements here. You know, fire, movement, earth, stability, water, the emotions, air, thought. There has to be all that communication involved in relationships. And when you're communicating with your partner or friends, we're trying to get balance in the relationship. So there is potential, but it needs to be discussed first. You're separated. Okay. Then here, it's the last card I pulled, King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles, king is someone who is a person who is of leadership. They've worked hard to get to where they are. Pentacles involves material things. It involves security and also taking care of others. And the King of Pentacles is someone that will not let anyone take that away from them. Their work is so much, but they also want to protect their own as well. The bear is a masculine energy, spirit animal. And as strong as they are, they're also very silent. So the King of Pentacles may be hard to read through because they're very stern. And, you know, they're very steadfast in their ways. And it takes hard. Pentacles is a fixed sign. Not a fixed sign. The sign of Taurus, which is the King of Pentacles, is a fixed sign. It's very hard to move them. As I mentioned, they've worked really hard, and they will do what they can to protect what they've built, family, relationship, and whatnot. So this person may be a little stubborn, a little difficult to move, but there's reason behind it. So that's the gist of what I'm getting from this. There can be communication if you want it. But, you know, as I mentioned with the King of Pentacles, he's probably pretty set in his ways. And it may be hard to get through to him. If you want to communicate, don't push. If I can make that suggestion, don't push, because this is a person that is, like I said, firmly footed. You push too hard, that may be it. You know, the very stubborn. And you're a Cancer. You know, I didn't get any water signs here, but at least with the Maiden, I'll put the card back up again. With the Maiden of Wands, you have that fiery energy that you really want to make this work. And you could, I mean, Cancers, if they really love someone, they'll protect. Cancers, you know, they have this shell. They'll protect them, but you can't be overly protective. That's the thing. And if that happens, he's not going to budge one bit. You know, this is a very strong card. So, and you say he's a Sagittarius. Sagittarius too they're very free-spirited. They're very adventurous. So they also like to have their space. And being in the sign of Cancer, emotionally, I think you kind of want that person to be there with you, but he wants his space. And in any relationship, to have that understanding, you have to give people the space that they need, so that there's a respect and understanding on both sides. If one is smothering the other, it's going to fuel issues that may not have already been brought up, but it may be brought up because things are getting pushed too much. It's like, okay, I've had it. This is how I feel, blah, 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 blah. And then the next thing you know, hopefully you can talk through it, or there's going to be a lot of work if you want to maintain that situation. Okay. Is it the Queen or Page? It's the Page of Wands. But in this deck, it's known as the Maiden. Right there. Okay. All right. Well, you've made your choice, right? You're giving him the space. I mean, if there is something specific that needs to be discussed with him, like if it's a legal issue, you know, something of that nature, then there's a means to it. But if it's just emotionally that you want to contact him, like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about you, or you just came into my head, how you doing? And you guys are separated. You know? And the only way you could get through this when the time is right is you have to create the balance of all these four elements. It's the connection of the mind with the heart. It's the connection of earth and water, or any combination of those. It's that balance. And this is very hard. These four elements are very hard to maintain in a relationship. You know, if you look at relationships, you could probably ask elementally wise, say, wow, this relationship is really fiery. You could just tell because of the energy between them, and there's very little water. And, you know, if you start talking to someone like that, they'll be looking at you, what are you saying? What are you saying this relationship is airy? What does that mean? But you could probably, for someone who is familiar with elemental work and whatnot, you could, God, that relationship could use a little bit more water, you know. You're welcome, Tabitha, of course. But yeah, just don't push, you know. I have friends that are Cancers, family, relatives. Unfortunately, she passed away. That was a Cancer. And I know she was very protective of me, my cousin that passed away. She was like a second mom to me. And she was very protective of me. And even into my adult years, you know, she goes, I want to make sure you're okay. It's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. And this cousin also was very, very much into the spiritual realm. She had connections to psychic energy. She was actually the one that got me all involved in metaphysical. Connie, God rest her soul. A very special soul for me. Yeah, clingy. That's just, but again, when we do astrological work and we have the signs, again, it's an awareness, You don't have to live your life astrologically. You don't have to live your life moonology-wise. There are people, there's one woman, I don't want to say her name, but she's an established tarot reader. And in a lecture that I attended, she was saying that I think she has 2 children. She said that she planned she planned the conceivement of her children so that they could be born at this month. And she almost tried to get it, well, the month and the date. She almost wanted to try and get it down to the time. I don't know how you could do that, but she was sharing the story and saying that that when she was getting ready to give birth, it was almost there, but it was like off by a few days. And she says, I'll hold my legs if I can, if this child could just wait 2 more days, and then I'll let the child go. I thought that was just too funny. There's humor in it. But she says for her, astrologically, a lot of her life and the way she plans things has worked in her benefit. But she's a professional. She's been doing this for over 30 years. So, there are exceptions to that. But I won't risk, if I was to get pregnant and wanted to have a child born on a certain month or day, I won't risk that. It's meant to happen. The date that you conceive, the date that you give birth, it's all meant to happen. So we let it go. I'm wondering if Brianna is still around. I don't think she is. I see 3 people that are hanging on, but I'll stay online for maybe another 10, 15 minutes. And if anyone wants to pop in, I will do a quick reading if you like. But until then, I'm going to do the Mystic Moon readings twice a month. I should have timed it so that it would go during the time of the full moon and new moon, but I didn't. I just felt like I wanted to get it on this Monday, on the 15th. I felt I had to do it. So I'll probably do another one in 2 weeks. You're so welcome, Tabitha. You rest well, okay? And feel free to contact me. Let me know if you want to pursue an in-depth reading. All my information's on my YouTube channel. Okay, rest well. Don't lose sleep over it. Okay, so I'll show you the cards really quick. If you want to take these cards with you as you sleep. Okay, this is the Maiden of Wands, 6 of Wands. Okay, this again is where you're going to have to compromise and negotiate if you want to have communication and also give space. And then, of course, King of Pentacles. Okay. Sleep well, Tabitha. All right. Am I pronouncing the name properly? Brianna? Well, you can't. You're not speaking to me, so I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it properly, Brianna. So, did you catch what I was saying about how to phrase the questions? It can't be general. You could do general, but again, it's what you put into your question you're going to get back from it. So if you put a question that's vague, not clear, the intention is not clear, it's going to come out like that, you know. So really think about what you want to ask. There has to be a little bit of work on the person who's asking the question, you know. And then it's up to us readers to kind of, not kind of, but to fill in the blanks and try to give guidance. So think of your question. Okay. I'm just reshuffling the cards here to get ready for your question. And let me know when you're ready, but don't wait for too long, okay? Okay. I have it, Brianna. Will my relationship with this person progress into a romantic one? Okay, so give me a moment just to shuffle. Three cards as well. So I'm going to show each card, give the interpretation, and then we'll talk about the guidance and the direction of your question. Okay. First card I pulled here was the Sun. And I feel with this card that the relationship that you have right now with this person is going really good. Friendship-wise, I'm guessing. It's going really good. And it seems like there's good energy between the two of you. It's very positive. You guys understand each other. It's very harmonious. And I'll go back to these cards too in a moment. Okay. Second card I pulled is the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles deals, I'm really sensing that this is, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I got it, then that's fine as well. I'm feeling like you guys work together. Five of Pentacles, there's something going on with either one of you regarding work, money. There's some issues that are coming. They're already in place. I'm not saying they're coming up. They're already in place. There's some work issues. some financial issues that seems to be something that needs to be focused on right now. I can't feel which person is going through this though right now. I'm going to go back to this in a minute. The other card I pulled is Eight of Pentacles. So Eight of Pentacles, 8 is there's a work issue going on. There's a real focus on work. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to deviate from your question. It's how the cards are coming up for me right now. I think right now, from what I'm feeling, the relationship that you have is probably best to stay as it is. Platonic friendship, that you guys will be able to work and support each other through whatever issue is going on, either through work or financially. Be like emotionally supportive or be of service to one or the other person to help them out. But the Eight of Pentacles is a lot of time and effort that's been put into something that means a lot to you materially. Again, I feel it's more work. You've worked really hard, or whoever's involved has worked very hard. And I feel like there could be a struggle going on right now. So I'm really feeling, Brianna, again, if I'm off that, this is the feeling that I got from the cards. But the relationship that the two of you have, it's very good. This is how I feel. And you guys are, I'm not going to say comrades in arms, but you guys are almost like brother, sister. But with these two cards, there's something going on financially, work-wise, that I feel could actually hold back the basis of a romantic relationship at this time. I'm feeling really strongly that there's something going on or will be happening pretty soon where the friendship is going to be needed from one person or the other. Okay, there's going to be again some challenges in the financial work sector, and with the Eight of Pentacles, this is going to be hard because whoever is affected from this has worked really hard, and they can get back to where they want to be in their workplace or their material connections, like holding it. There's going to be some loss, but in the meantime, there is progression. You can move on from it. It's going to take some time. So, and that's what I get with the Eight of Pentacles. So I'll show the cards again. Strong friendship, a very good understanding of each other. And then we got to work on some things here in the financial work aspect of either one. And then you can progress. It's going to take some time to get out of this to this. But there is potential. And it can be good. You have to keep that clear perspective and don't get lost in the heaviness of any change that's going on. But to answer your question, Brianna, again, I've already reiterated. I think it's best that you guys stay friends. I think you guys will need each other because of some shifts that are either currently going on or that may happen. I feel like this is something that's already going on and it could be growing more. So if you have any questions, Brianna, about that, let me know. If not, thank you for asking. Jerry, you're welcome. Thank you, Brianna. Jerry the Pope, might I have a reading as well? Sure. Were you listening to anything that I said within the last half hour about asking how to ask a question for the tarot? It's best that your question is in general. The question that you want to ask should have clear intention. Okay, that's fine. So as I was saying, your question should have clear intention of what you're trying to get guidance from. You know, don't ask what color should I wear tomorrow or anything like that. I don't do anything predictive, nothing health related. You know, when something's going to happen, those readings I don't do at all. So as I'm shuffling, Jerry, let me know. Think about your question. Okay. And if I have any questions regarding the wording of the question, I will ask you. I have very mild arthritis. And when I work with a deck that has thick cardstock like this one, ooh, yeah. It kind of slows me down a little bit. So Jerry, think of your question. Don't think of it for too long, okay? Don't put so much thought into it. It should come naturally from the heart. Hmm. You want to be happy. This is going to sound like a cliche, Jerry, but guess what? We're all happy. We just got to find it. We're all happy. We all have fear. And it's just a matter of tapping into it. It's there inside of us. We just got to get to it. And that's up to you. So how would you phrase that question for me? If you gave me a little bit of a story to it, but what would the question be? Yes, we do find happiness in ourselves. So let me know, Jerry, how would you phrase that question? Hi, Gypsy. Okay. You would like to find. Okay. I can't tell you what kind of job you're going to get, like specifically, unless the cards give me some indication of it, but okay. You just want to be happy with where you work and to be successful in that job. So I'm going to do 3-card reading. So give me a moment, Jerry. I have to shuffle here. Okay. So Jerry, I'm going to pull 3 cards. I'm going to show them to you individually. I'll give my interpretation of them individually, and then I'll do a general overview of it. Let me take some water. Ha ha. I'll explain why. Okay. Normally I shouldn't have been emotive the way that I was when I turned over the first card. I was, because it was a card that came up in my previous reading. So the first card I pulled is King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is someone who has worked very hard and is very stable, wants stability, needs to have that stability, will do what it takes to protect everything that it's worked so hard for. And the bear, same thing. Bear is inner strength and nurturing that, the inner strength that we have within us, and to stand by and have gratitude at the same time for what we've worked for. So as I do the reading, I'm giving you the individual interpretation. So it may be a little off, but as I piece it together, I'm interpreting it to your question. So the King of Pentacles is very important. I feel this card could be you. Next card is the Magician. This is someone who is highly skilled and knowledgeable and knows a lot about the craft that they work in. They are professional. The Magician can also represent, I'll explain like this, sleight of hand. Someone who can, not say be mischievous, but can actually use their tools to manipulate other people. Use their skills, use their knowledge. You have to be careful with the Magician, because if you have too much of a good thing, you may let the best of you, the ego, run away and kind of get lost in, your talents and whatnot. And then we have here the Queen of Pentacles. I'm going to pull up the King of Pentacles. Don't know, this could relate to your boss. I'm not certain, but this is also a woman who is very strong, but she's also nurturing in the sense that she understands her position. She's very firm in her way. And also, like the King of Pentacles, will protect everything that she's worked for. If she feels like she's being violated by anyone around her, violated, I mean, like, what's the other word I'm trying to think of? Feels like someone may be trying to push their way into their position. She's going to stay right where she is. And we see also the position of the bear. Here we look at the position of the bear and the King of Pentacles. It's very, very, very strong and grounding. This one is more on the softer side. She's strong, but she has a side to her that that maybe she can bend a little bit, but for the most part, she's staying right in her position, right where she is. So regarding your question, Jerry, about finding a new job, I feel that you will find something new. Location-wise, I'm not certain, but I'm really getting a sense with the Magician that you're very skilled, and those skills are really going to help you. And I feel like you're in the job that you're currently in. You are successful, and it's going to be hard to move on because you've worked very hard for it. But you have your skills here. You have very strong skill sets, and I think you will easily find work. And financially, you're going to have to work hard to maintain it. You know, whenever you go from an old job into a new job, it's very rare that you're going to get the same position or something better, maybe. But I feel with this, your skill set, you may be in a different position with this new job, but with your skill set, you're going to be able to climb up quicker. You're going to be able to move up, and in doing so, you're going to gain the respect of other people. This is a person you respect, King of Pentacles. You will gain the respect of people, and you more than likely hold that position and be in a better place because of it. So I don't know if that really gave you any insight, any direction towards it. Got the Queen of Pentacles here. You know, it could be your former boss, but there's a similarity that the two of you share, because to get the King and Queen of Pentacles in the same reading, you guys may think alike. Even though she may have done something negative to you in the workplace, you may, I don't know, you may understand why she did what she did, even though it may not make sense. But that's what I pull here. Really? Okay. Can I ask you, Jerry, who do you feel could be the Queen of Pentacles? This is the card here. If you feel like you can connect to this card, if it's not your boss, maybe it could be in the new workplace. But there is a connection, I feel, with these two cards. Like, you will probably end up working with someone who is like this, who is nurturing and whatnot. And the reason why I stated your boss is this could be more the internal side of who she is. But since this doesn't seem to be the case, I don't rule this card out entirely. This card could represent someone that you may be working with in your new venture. So I will show you the cards again. King of Pentacles, the Magician. These two work very good together. You have this, that will lead to this. And I feel you already have this, the King of Pentacles. And then the Queen of Pentacles. Jerry the Pope, you're very mindful, you're very sensitive. I feel you know more about yourself than you give yourself credit for. Okay. I hope that is the case. You know, Queen of Pentacles. But again, this is someone who equally, like the King of Pentacles, has worked very hard and has deserved the position that they're in, but is also nurturing and knows how to work with other people. So I hope, again, with the next job that you do find, which I feel you will have, that this person could be a spiritual guide for you that you don't even know until you start working with the person. So do you have any other questions, Jerry? This is all intuitive. This is all how I pick up from the cards based on your question. I'm always not perfect. I think you will. I think you will. I think you will. So another thing you could do, Jerry, is just, if you connect with this card, if you like how it represents, hold this card in your mind. Look at it. Look at the energy, feel the energy from the card. And by internalizing that, conscious to subconscious, you could probably will either this person, this personality, or the environment of where you want to be, who you want to be with. Visualization is very important. So if you hold this card and also this card, you said you love what you do. The magician is someone who knows what their skill sets are. They're masters at it. So maybe pull these two together. Yeah. I wish you the best, Jerry. Hold these cards. And feel free to drop me a line. You can reach me through YouTube. All my information's on my profile. If anything comes up, feel free to just drop me an email. You could go through my website as well. Okay. So feel free. All right. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Let's see here. Tom, I can't answer that question. I'm sorry. You're welcome, Jerry. Okay, Amanda, you are Cancer. Do I have a chance? I have a relationship with Eduardo, who's a Pisces. 2 water signs. Okay. All right, Amanda. I am going to reshuffle. I'm going to take one more question after you, if anyone's interested. Okay. Okay, so Amanda, I'm going to do a 3-card reading for you. And I think the best way I can phrase your question is the kind of relationship that you will have, whether it is a relationship or not. If it's a kind of relationship, but Okay, here we go. This question is going to be for Amanda. Getting a lot of cancers today. You're the third Cancer, Amanda, that's asked about questions. And I'm forgetting Cancer's coming up next week, so happy early birthday. I should have wished the other two Cancers a happy birthday as well. I just realized. Alrighty. Okay, so Amanda, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 3 cards, and I'm going to show you each card individually, give you my interpretation of each card, and then just kind of culminate it together based on your question. I need more water. The first card I have here is the Ace of Cups. And Cups is actually ruled by the emotions and the intuitive nature that we have within ourselves, how we feel about things. It's also related to water signs. Question here is, this indicates new beginnings. This could be a new direction towards how you want to approach any potential relationships. It's a card that really allows you to really think about your feelings before going into a relationship. And once you've given those feelings thought and you feel confident, then you're ready to move into a relationship. So I'm focusing on the relationship aspect, but it also involves you as well for the emotional part of who you are. Ten of Cups. This is, I want to word this so it makes sense. Ten of Cups is basically the ending, but also the starting of a new cycle. The Ace of Cups and Ten of Cups, they almost coincide with each other. This indicates new beginnings, and the Ten of Cups represent endings and culmination of things. A relationship, since this is what you're asking about, a relationship that has taken place, has gone as far as it can go, and it's time to move on. Butterflies are indications of transformation. It's a time to emotionally rethink about things and know that there's things within yourself that you can make changes for the better. And then once you've acknowledged that, you're able to start a new cycle, which is the Ace of Cups. So regarding right now, I'm not going to say anything just yet, but these two cards, as they came up, one after the other, it shows a change in cycles, a change of feelings, a change of emotions. It's time to move on to something new. And this card pretty much well nails it. Got the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is just basically, you both are water signs. And I almost want to say that the communication that the two of you had was very, like the way you, not emotionally communicated, but the way that you tried to hold conversations, try to understand each other was a problem. There was a lot of conflict involved, and it really made the relationship difficult, whether it's romantic or intimate or friendship. There's no growth that's going to come from this. You have to have a relationship, you have to know how to communicate, how to exchange thoughts, how to understand each other. This Nine of Swords just shows that there's so many issues involved. It's just a problem. And these two cards, like I said, beginnings and endings, emotionally, I feel you are in a good place to move on and to grow with another partner. I don't see anything happening immedately, but emotionally, if you feel like you've let go and you've dealt with the feelings of the past relationship, which this card could sort of indicate, then you're ready to start something new. I wouldn't say look, just be, whenever we come out of a relationship, we always take something from it. We learn something, we're always like, oh, I learned so much from that relationship. I'm not looking for someone like that, or I don't want this kind of environment to be in. You learn from relationships, and that's the beauty of interacting with our own humankind. We learn from each other. We get crazy sometimes when we try to figure out why this person is the way they are, but that's who they are. It's very difficult. If you feel this card, how do you feel about the relationship? Do you feel that you have something that you took from it that you can learn from, and then when you're ready for the next relationship, you could go on from it? That's the thing. And with this card, it shows that it is endings, but it's also putting the emotions in line for something new, which is the Ace of Cups. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well. Let me know if that does make sense to you. With beginnings, there's always an end, because we're going to go through those cycles. And we're going to learn, grow, we're going to suffer, we're going to feel pain, we're going to heal from it, we're going to learn, and we're going to move on. And that's what I get with these cards here. But the Nine of Swords, it just holds it right there. There's a problem of communication. But yeah, if you feel that you have grown from that relationship and you've learned from it, and that you as a person has shifted in a better sense, has grown, then you're ready. You're ready whenever you feel that you're ready to take in a new experience. So that's how I feel with these cards: the Ace of Cups, the Ten of Cups, and Nine of Swords. So let me know, Amanda, if there's any other questions that you have, if that kind of gave you some suggestions, some guidance as to where to go from here. Again, it's not going to, the tarot doesn't give set answers. It's just, you know, these cards are to be used as a grain of salt, as guidance. So if there's any other questions, let's see, Tammy, I don't know if you're still here. Thank you, Miss Amanda. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't sugarcoat my readings. You know, I read it how I see it. And, you know, I try to be careful with my wording and how I explain things to people. Sometimes it can be complex, and tarot readers, we're not predictors. You know, we're here to provide guidance. So again, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to pick up a card that just fell. It's something that, you know, eventually you make the choices on how you want to do some, you know, lead your life or lead a certain direction that you were inquiring about the cards. Okay. All right. You feel that I'm clear. Excellent. So Amanda, like I've been telling everyone that I've been doing the readings for, feel free to keep in touch. All my information's on my profile page. I have an Instagram page. My website's the best way to reach me. Feel free just to keep in touch and just say, hey, this is what happened. This, or you don't have to keep in touch at all. I just leave that open for people. And if they want to stay in touch after reading, that's entirely up to you. I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you, Amanda. Oh, all right. Hugs to Brazil. You sleep well, okay? And I hope health-wise, you and your family are all doing good. Bye from California. That's where I'm based. Okay, let's see. Okay. You will be my last question, but what is your name? You wrote down, I would like some guidance on a situation with my partner's ex. Your name is coming up in, I don't know if that's Cantonese or Korean. Can you give me your name so I know how to address you? And you will be my last question. I'll give you a minute if you could give me your name. And in the meantime, I will be reshuffling these cards. Your name's Tammy? Just confirm with me. Okay. Okay. So what's the question, Tammy, that you would like to know? Okay, thank you. When you ask your question, I need you to be specific. I need you to tell me what you're inquiring about. What specifically is the issue? You've told me that she's hanging around. If you can rephrase the question so that when I do your reading, I can answer it a little bit, not a little bit, but I can answer it clearer for you. Okay? So rephrase what you want to say. When will her meddling end? Okay. When it comes to a question like that, Tammy, that's something that's very predictive. I don't answer questions along those lines, like when something's going to happen. There's a liability issue that comes when doing a reading like that. I can provide some guidance on the situation, but I need it to be more specific. I don't know if that makes sense. Because if a question's general, and I've been saying this throughout the evening, if someone gives me a general question, you're going to get a general reply. So it helps to be specific. And again, I don't do anything predictive, like when is this going to happen? I don't do anything regarding health. So if you can rephrase your question, I am more than happy to do a reading for you. But I can't do anything that's like when something's going to happen. I think you can understand that. So let me know, Tammy. If you can't rephrase it, just let me know, and we can leave it at that. But again, I can't answer questions like that. And I appreciate you for understanding. Okay, so I will wait a minute to hear from you, Tammy. If not, I'm going to wrap up. But just to let you know, I will be doing Mystic Moon Mondays. I will be doing Mystic Moon Mondays in another 2 weeks. And I will do similar. We'll talk about moon energy and discuss certain aspects of the moon and how it affects us emotionally, and the signs, how they influence us when the moon is passing through those astrological signs. So I'll be back in 2 weeks on Monday. If there's any changes, I will note it in my YouTube schedule. Let's see. Okay. All right, so Tammy, what I'm going to do is, this is obviously something that's bothering you. So I'm going to do 3 cards. And I'm going to phrase the question along the lines of how to manage the situation with this person. Alrighty. Okay, so Tammy, I'm going to pull 3 cards. I'm going to give you my interpretation of each card, and then give a general overview of the situation that you are inquiring about. Okay. First card I have here is Seven of Wands. And wands are indicative of energy and movement. Seven of Wands reveals, I feel like this card's calling more towards you. This is going to be very difficult for you to understand, and hopefully you will have an open mind, Tammy, about this. Sorry, that's my cat in the background. Seven of Wands. There is movement within yourself that I think you need to focus on. Don't focus your energy so much on her, because that's what's causing all the worry and all the anxiety and the stress. This is a time where you need to find peace within yourself. Okay, this may not make sense, but you need to see what's going on with this person from a different perspective. And in a sense, it's more of letting go and not even letting that person, her energy or whatnot, get into you. Focus on yourself. Ask yourself, why is this person bothering me? Why am I letting her bother me? The Seven of Wands is the energy within you. And this is the anxiety, this is the stress, the overwhelming that you're feeling. You need to turn that energy around and focus it more internally on you. No, she's not part of you. Don't let her, whatever she's doing, get to you. And by doing that, if you put up a shield, not a physical shield, but if you put up an invisible block around you, you will probably notice in time that person will not be bothering you as much. Maybe in time she'll just vanish, she'll just disappear. But you have to focus on within you. Build a shield from the inside out to not let that energy get to you. Second card. It's Queen of Wands. This woman, the Queen of Wands, is someone who has energy. She knows how to use it. And she also knows how to manipulate it, and when to give a lot of it and when to hold back on it. The Queen of any of the tarot decks, Queen of Swords, Pentacles, I'm forgetting the other two, Cups. They are masters. They understand the source of the energy that they're working with. And this is someone who's not going to change their ways. Because of that fiery energy that this person has, she tends to draw certain types of people to her. And there's just something very magnetic about her energy that people want to go and just spend time, or just they like being around her. But for you, you're picking up something that's just not right. It just does not work properly for you. She wants to control. And when when you have a court card like this, especially Queen, it's really hard to change those attributes of her, unless she changes herself, which she probably will in time. And then we have the Fool. Okay. The Fool is not a silly card. It's a card of liberation. It's a card of freedom. It's a card of just letting it all go. Okay, remember what I was saying with the Seven of Wands. This is a card where you have all this anxiety and stress inside of you. You have to harness it and work it in a different manner. So it doesn't burn you, literally, inside. Work on just turning that energy into something more healing and more positive. And then we have this. It's the second card. It's in the middle of these three cards. Okay. This is the crux of what's been bothering you. And even though I think you said she's she's a Virgo. Virgos are analytical. You know, they're very detailed. They're very, they're perfectionists. They want things to be right, which is good in many ways and not good in other ways. They have to learn how to manage those attributes and, be aware of how they behave in using those attributes around other people. Because sometimes that behavior isn't going to work with everyone else. And then here's the liberation. So by working within yourself, creating harmony within, you can have this freedom, starting over, letting it all go. It's really important. And just focus on this energy. Wand energy is very strong. And if you can manifest that, like I said, if you could put an energetic shield around you, anything of her energy that she may be throwing out towards you, it's not going to affect you. But you have to believe in yourself, and you need to have faith. And very important, because this person sounds like a very strong person, you need to build your own strength as well. It's very important. So just keep that in mind. And then you can have this freedom, this liberation from being around that person. So I don't know if that kind of gave you some guidance, Tammy. Let me know. I'm going to be signing off here. So if you have any other questions, yeah, just, if there's someone that you don't want to be around with, there's no reason to, give that person the time. You don't want to be around those people. I just saw here, you said that you think she's on your social media. Protect yourself in that way too. You can always block, you can always, change everything to private. But start building your inner strength to go against this person's energy. It'll take some time, but remove yourself from her. I know, easier said than done. It's like, okay, she's gone. You can will someone away. But it takes time. You have to put that energy out there that I don't want to be around this person. If you want to attract someone who is attainable, it could happen. But there's certain ways that you need to go and make that happen. And it takes work. And it has to be honest. And it has to be real. That's what I'm saying. It has to be attainable. So yeah, Tammy, let me know how things work. But just focus on you. Don't focus on her. because that's not the energy you want to be around with again. And just build up a protective shield. You know, think of the thoughts. Think of the shield that you want to have around you. Don't do anything that's harmful. Don't think ill will against someone, because it's karma. Some people believe in karma, others don't. But just be careful, because sometimes what you put out there, if it's negative intention, it'll come back to you somewhere down the line. So just be honest, you know, with yourself, and just be done. Be done with her. Okay. So thank you so much, Tammy. Thank you for being patient and waiting. If you have any questions in the future, as I mentioned, I'll be back in 2 weeks on Monday for Mystic Moon readings. Feel free to keep in touch. I'm on Instagram. I have my website. And if you have any questions, you can reach me through my website. All right. Everyone who's here, I think there's only one left. I think that's Tammy. Thank you so much. It's been fun. 2 hours, hour and a half of tarot readings, and about a half hour, 45 minutes of moon readings, or moon energy discussions. This Saturday, very important day as I wind down. Saturday is summer solstice, longest day of the year. Spend the next few days enjoying the time out in the sun, because after that, in the weeks to come, our days are going to start getting shorter. It's not going to be noticeable until probably August, and we're going to start getting shorter days and a little bit more darkness, a little bit more dark nighttime. So that's the Saturday summer solstice. We have Mercury Retrograde, which I discussed earlier. On Wednesday, it's going to move into the sign of Taurus. And also the moon's going to be in Taurus. So I'm a Taurus. I'm just going to take it carefully, but I don't get wrapped up too much in the retrograde fear or craziness of it. If something happens, I just manage it. Have a great week, everyone. Hopefully see you in 2 weeks. Thank you again. Have a great week.